So I think one of the most popular questions whenever people watch you online is, where does the name Kadeli come from? Before we start, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this for doing this interview for this, for this pop-up broadcast. It's gonna be on air on Monday night Australian time. So that's gonna be like, I don't know, Monday early in the morning in American time.
Okay. Well, yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I can't say I got a lot of sleep. There was a crazy rainstorm last night and my gutters were overflowing. So it just sounded like there was a waterfall outside my window all night.
Is that the reason why there was like a massive blackout in your neighborhood?
No, so that was actually the massive blackout was just completely random, like before the rainstorm. It was kind of annoying.
Oh, that happened once in my neighborhood like a few years ago. Like the entire neighborhood got like blackout, and the only light source we had before my family could find like the flashlight was literally my lamp, because it's USB powered and it charges, but you only have like 5 minutes of use before it poof. No, you can't use it anymore.
Yeah, we had like 15 candles just spread out in like every room around the house. It was definitely unique.
Imagine taking a shower using candles.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. I think my hot water heater wouldn't heat any water during a blackout, but it could be a mood. It could be, who knows? Somebody could sell that.
It's mood, but when you live in a country where they have a bunch of horror stories, you get scared that something haunted will come out of your bathroom mirror and kill you.
That's true. That's especially when it's like really close to Halloween.
Okay, let's do this. I'm so excited. Hopefully, I added a bit more questions from I added you, but it should be within the same lines, so it should be fine. Before we start, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us here today. So, howdy, hey.
Howdy, hey. Thank you so much for having me.
So, before we start, can you please introduce yourself? Who are you? Who you are?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Kadeli. I make music. I'm also known as Hipyo Tech, I guess, as a YouTuber. That's me. There's not much else to it. I come from Northern California. Yeah.
So, where does Kadeli come from?
Where does Kadeli come from? The name Kadeli or me?
Then where does the name Kadeli? Okay, so let's rephrase this. So I think one of the most popular questions whenever people watch you online is, where does the name Kadeli come from?
Yeah, so that's currently still remaining as a secret. You know, I like to tease people just a little bit, keep people a little bit on the edge of their seat. I can't give everything away, all of my secrets away yet, but I promise it's not a very interesting story when I do finally tell it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I tried.
You tried. One day, somebody will get me.
Can I guess?
Could you guess? Sure.
Yes.
I won't tell you if you're right.
Is it a real name, nickname, or something?
I won't tell you if you're right.
So it's probably a nickname or something. I don't know. Everything is usually a nickname.
It's a boring story. I'll leave it with that.
Okie dokie. Okay. So your story is really interesting because you're mostly known as a keyboard YouTuber known as Hipyo Tech. So was music something you always wanted to do, or was it something you've done in secret, or is it just something that suddenly emerged in the year 2021 due to the pandemic?
Oh man, honestly, a little bit of everything. So like I've always been interested in music. I've always been interested in singing. Like ever since I was a kid, like my parents would get annoyed at me because we drive in the car. I'm going to sing along to whatever song they're playing. In the shower, I would play really loud music and make everybody quite frustrated. And then like, honestly, like I liked Weird Al Yankovic a lot and just like parody music. So I would just make dumb like parodies of whatever song I was listening to, even if it was just something as silly as like turning a song into a song about mac and cheese or whatever. That kind of led to like with my YouTube, I was like, one day I got bored and I was like, what could I do to get this point across that I'm trying to get across? It was kind of just like a PSA. And I was like, I'm going to make a parody song to do that same thing. And originally I was like, this will be a dumb idea. I'm going to scrap it. 4 hours later, I have like the final rendition of my song. And I'm like, well, this is actually not bad. So I got a little bit of help from a friend, Richard Beans, who does a little bit of mixing and mastering. He helped me like make it at least good enough to release. And then I put it at the end of a random video and expecting like barely anybody to watch it. And a lot of people were like, wow, this is good. And then that kind of turned into maybe I should try something more serious. And here we are.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling of like, oh yeah, it's nothing great. I'll just play the end because not everyone watches to the end. They're just gonna watch halfway. But the fact that people actually liked it, I actually liked it as well. It's like, huh, this is really good.
Yeah, it was very interesting. That was like the most nervous I'd ever been to post anything ever. And because I was like, what are people gonna think? Is everybody just gonna dislike the video? And no, I mean the reception was positive, and that's really all you can ask for.
And it really is because ever since your debut, when you released that single "Where You Going," it seems like you have a large Australian audience. Most like Sydney is like one of your top cities. So how is it like knowing that you have a large audience here down under?
That's honestly awesome. Like I really want to visit Australia soon. Australia's always piqued my interest because the coffee scene there is incredible. And I'm really into astrophotography. So the best time for astrophotography is during the summer. So when it's winter here, it's summer there. I could literally just take star photos all summer, fly to Australia and take star photos all for another summer. That's like my dream. Is just like a summer of or a whole year of just constant star photography.
If it makes you feel better, they now allow international traveling. So if you're double vaccinated, come on over. We have.
Hopefully one day soon.
So you also just released your second song, Serpentine. So, and what is the story behind it? Like, was it like what inspired you to write this song?
Well, that one's there's prongs to Serpentine, right? So Serpentine originally developed as just like me in my kitchen. I was making some teriyaki chicken and just kind of like humming and singing or whatever. And then like I came across this like bit of like, oh, we're going serpentine. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm just gonna hold on to that. And I held on to it and I threw some rough demo together that was like sounds nothing like Serpentine currently sounds. I sent it over to my producer, Zach, and he was like, this is something that we can work with. And then it just kind of developed over like the course of a month or two with just like more random tidbits here and there. Like the Lost in Your Lies bit, which I feel like is now the most crucial part to the whole song, was literally just like in the last week of making the song. There's a little instrumental bit, and I was like, this is boring. Let me just ad lib something. And I ad libbed that verse that's in there, just like, and I was just, yeah, it was awesome. Making that song was a lot of fun.
And I love the music video as well. It's like it's just this one giant one take. Yeah, and according to you, it's you ask your friend to record it, who is not really a cinema, like not really a filmmaker. So there is some like, something rough there, but it kind of fits, to be honest.
Yeah, making the music video was honestly an adventure. I bought a DJI gimbal, so like one of those rough gimbals. I had no idea how to use it. I had a friend, and basically like we were like, let's go just to the beach and we'll figure it out. So we meet up with another friend at the beach. They lived on the coast, and they basically took us on like a 3-hour tour of all the best coastlines. Going into the video, I knew the only thing I wanted was like a really cool shot at some point where there's like city lights in the background and I'm on a coast, like on beach, and there's water. So then we found the best beach in this whole area. We visited like 5, 6 different beaches. And then we spent about an hour figuring out how to use the gimbal on the beach, which was a disaster. Never figure out how to use a gimbal on a beach. It's a bad time, I guarantee it. And then we ran through like so many one takes because like an artist that I really love, Phineas, almost all of his videos are one takes, or maybe even all of his videos are one takes. And I really like that idea of just like pushing one solid artistic idea all the way through to the end. Now, granted, he has like background dancers and crazy stuff that he can do, but we'll get there one day, you know.
Speaking of one thing, I remember I saw this music video from another artist. They're an Australian artist, and they had this giant one take, and there's so much going on. Like the more the song goes on, and like they had confetti, gymnastics, acrobatics, and all that. And apparently, it took them like more than 30 takes. And if I remember correctly, they used take 36.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
It's an art.
We were running out of daylight. Basically, that take that I ended up using was the last good take of light, because after that it was just like pitch black. We were using basically like holding up a phone with a flashlight on as our photography light because I didn't have the budget for anything else, and it's really jank. It's really jank, but it kind of works.
It really does. Can't stop laughing. So do you plan to release more music? Like, where do you see yourself as you go through this music career of yours?
Well, obviously I'm still working on music. I have things in the pipeline that I can't announce yet, but hopefully soon. And they're very exciting. They're very exciting. I started music as like a creative project that would kind of give me a good, fun, creative outlet. And I intend on sticking with music until my creative outlet is gone. And I don't really think it will be gone.
Will that mean that your keyboard days will soon end and just become a full-on music singer artist?
I really don't think so. Maybe like keyboards alone, potentially. I still see YouTube as a really good creative outlet, and I still have a lot of fun with YouTube. I've noticed like for some YouTubers, like you're in one niche for so long and you have to explore other things. So like I'm not gonna limit myself to one small box. Like exploring other ideas is always gonna be fun.
Do you ever experience like music, like creative block when writing music during your process?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I would say it happens with YouTube, it happens with anything creative. It's like you'll have days where you'll write a whole song in a day or write a whole video in a day. And then you'll have days where like even starting that first line just sucks. And it's like about finding that balance of just like with the days that you don't want to do anything, give yourself a little bit of a break. And those days where you want to do everything will come more often rather than just like forcing it.
So is there like any Australian artists you would like to collaborate with?
Oh yeah. I mean, it really depends on if I ever get big or not, right? Because my sights are always set at the top, regardless of if I can reasonably achieve that. Um, like as far as the Australian artists that I vibe with the most and just love, like Troye Sivan. I love Troye Sivan so much. Like I admired the fact that he started on YouTube and then created such an amazing career of just like brilliant talent in music, and also now like he's doing fashion-y stuff and he's awesome. I'd love to work with him. Um Honestly, you showed me Breakfast Road and I thought Breakfast Road was very interesting. Um like their song 170, like super cool, hyper pop, like very fresh, very fresh.
I mean, I talked to those guys, and they said they're open to collaborate with you. Like, they would love to write music with you at some point. Yeah, Breakfast Road and Kadeli collab. When I want to hear one, I'm pretty sure everyone would love to hear one.
Yeah, I never thought about joining a boy band, but
So, is there like anything you would like to say to all your fans here in Australia, especially in Sydney?
honestly, I'm just so overwhelmed with all of the Australian support. Like, I appreciate it so much that like people on the complete other side of the world can hear my music and connect with it and like feel the same emotions that I felt as I was writing it. And that means the world to me. That's so cool.
Great. And you have like any final words you'd like to say?
Thank you so much for having me on. Definitely stay tuned for new things coming within the next couple months. I'm very excited about them. I hope I can talk about them soon. I just hope people are wanting more.
Well, definitely people are wanting more. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah.
Thank you.